Go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself or what you do for a living. And
All right. Hi everybody. My name's Nick. I'm a contractor. I'm independent. I just go around the city of Rochester, working on mainly rentals. Love my life. And I'm a Mason. A step kid, 14. He won the state champs. So he got first place trophy in wrestling. It's really good. I got uh I got a daughter. She's 10 months old. Her name's Antonella. She's in the house right now. I got my girl Dina, who's awesome, who helps take care of everybody and hold everything down while I'm at work. Get out of work and I go to the gym after. That's pretty much all I do.
awesome. Is that an everyday occurrence? The gym?
I try to make it every day, but
Try to make
when
it.
you got sometimes you gotta, you gotta spend a little time with her.
Yeah, you gotta balance. You gotta balance the family out, right? So yeah, so this thing is a boxing talk YouTube thing that I'm doing. You're actually my first interviewer. I guess my first question is, how old were you when you first got introduced to boxing, or who introduced you to boxing?
um, Boxing I've only been into for a year. I grew up with a kid. His name's Kevin Crash Carrier. You can look him up on YouTube. He's
Okay.
actually fighting with UA in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Uh, I grew up hustling around with this dude, so I learned, MMA, and I got in MMA gyms. And, when I was 8 years old, I was into karate. I got into karate and I went all the way to my green belt and I didn't like it. And I did MMA and kind of didn't like that either. I think after last year when I discovered boxing, that's the answer right there. I think that's the
Gotcha.
answer.
When you were a kid, though, you watched it, right? You watched the sport, or did you
Oh,
just recent? Is that new too?
I watch it. When we grew up, it was Mayweather era,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
when we grew up, yes, it was. But I do remember being real small and watching back on the old Mike Tyson's and who was your favorite that you remember watching or emulating?
Uh, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Mike
And
Tyson. I was at Maxwell's in what was it, 1995, whatever. I was a little kid. I watched him bite Evander Holyfield's ear off. Looked at my grandpa. I said, "Poppy,
yeah,
why did man bite that man's ear off?" I didn't understand.
yeah, as a kid, you're watching that, and it was like I remember that being huge, and
Oh, the president of the United States responded to that.
yeah, that's crazy. And they just did a commercial a few years back where he sends him his ear back in the box. Yeah, that was a good one. Um, but when we talked before, you said you liked a little bit of Jack Dempsey too, right?
Jack Dempsey is my favorite of all time. He's actually who Mike Tyson looked up to, believe it or not.
Well, that's what
Uh,
I'm going to get into because him
yeah.
and Mike Tyson got a lot of similarities. They're both aggressive fighters,
Mhm.
huge punching power, and they were both reputed for being knockout artists. And the similarities in between, from the 20s to the Mike Tyson era, and he was the first guy to ever hold a $1 million gate
Really?
back in the 20s.
Well, in the 1920s, he filled stadiums back then with,
Yeah, yep.
100,000 people audiences.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a shock to me. And I'm thinking, wow, $1 million. I mean, that's like 15 million
Million
today.
dollars. No kidding.
We got the Ryan Garcia fight coming up with Tank Davis, and Tank Davis is just hitting the $1 million part. So I mean, to think about the star he is nowadays making that, and boxing was a totally different thing back then. I mean, shit, we're talking old school mafia. You know what I mean? Um,
No,
it was a whole nother time back then. But Rocky Marciano,
Rocky's good. I like
the
Rocky
the
Marciano.
original undefeated champion.
He weighed 200 pounds. So you figure he's about my size. I'm 205. I'm 5'9".
Yeah,
This dude is a heavyweight and uses his chin as his blocking. So you imagine that. He's getting hit in the face by 250-pound guys and he's beating them.
yeah.
You got to respect him for that.
A lot of people say it was rigged, and a lot of the mafia had things to do with a lot of his wins. But I mean, you watch the fights with him and Joe Louis. Looked like he was a slugger. Didn't matter he was a little dude. I mean, look at Mike Tyson, a little guy, and he's knocking heavyweights out. It's done. I mean, it can be done. It's not impossible. So, you want to give a little shout out to your gym or your coach or?
Oh yeah, Nasty Knuckles Boxing 1555 Lyle Ave. Awesome atmosphere, awesome team, awesome coaches. Bobby Giles runs it. Coach Vaughn, Coach Chris, they're great.
Yeah,
Sasho. Love them all. It's definitely a privilege to be a member of the gym.
Oh, for
I
sure,
love
for sure.
it.
Yeah. I actually follow him on Facebook, or I have him friend. I don't know if you'd call it like a friend or a following, but yeah, I follow his gym.
We do live sparring every now and again. They've been sparring us up pretty good lately, especially because, you got to remember COVID kind of shut things down and
Yeah.
we had to rebound from that. Everybody did, because people come in. I mean, I weighed 270 pounds before COVID. I'm down to 205.
I seen a video on Giles' page that you were in, obviously, and I was like, I know who that is, but the body weight is definitely different. So do you plan on doing any amateur fights or getting licensed, or are you just keeping it physically as a
I'll
hobby?
tell you what, I'm 30 years old now. I would love to do amateur fights.
Yeah.
If it's possible, I hope so. But we're not ready to have that talk yet. You know what I mean? Definitely devoted to it. I bought myself professional gloves last week, actually. 10 ounces, like they're real fighting gloves. I'm ready. We got a little finessing to do back at the gym, most definitely. I'm just motivated and I'm encouraged.
For all these kids out there who feel like they want to go and kick somebody's ass or beat the other kid up, I believe it's definitely the wrong way to look at it. What kind of advice would you give them to let them know, like, that's not the idea to go into the gym with? Or
Well, I mean, I'm 29 years old now. You're talking back to when I was 17. Um, I grew up in Irondequoit. My mom's side of the family did not grow up in Irondequoit. We
Mhm.
had a totally different life on the other side of the city,
Yep.
and I wanted to kick everybody's ass. It just, whatever. Yeah, I was an angry kid, whatever. I totally understand where these kids come from, and I go to the gym and I look up to these bigger guys, and I thought that you had to be mean and fierce, and you had all these terrible things so you could be a man, basically. And there's no place for that in boxing at all. You could find the most docile, meek person, and you could be as angry as you want to be. You're gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. Or better yet, and better words, you're eventually going to be humbled.
Pretty
So
much. There's Joe Frazier said it himself. There's no place for anger in a boxing ring.
absolutely. Who's your favorite modern day fighter? Like somebody who's active now? Are you familiar with
I like
anything
I like
going
the
on?
heavyweight right now.
What do you like?
Uh, I like the heavyweight division right now.
Yeah.
As crazy as that might sound, it's pretty much at its all time low. Tyson Fury doesn't get the respect he deserves at all. If
Yeah.
he could catch a 2-3 from Deontay Wilder and die and come back to life, he earns respect in my book.
Oh yeah. Well, it's another debate a lot of people say is like Alexander Usyk fought Joshua twice. I like his style, his movement matches well to somebody like Tyson Fury. That being said, we want a unification in the heavyweight, Usyk with the belts, and then you got Tyson Fury, even though he's the bigger name, he's only got the one belt, the WBC. In your personal opinion, do you think he should have made all these mandates for the fight, or do you believe that he earned his right as the fucking Gypsy King, and whether he's got the one belt or not, he's the
He's a
name?
little conceited. He's a little conceited, definitely. But I am a firm believer in Darwinism. I think that somebody better come up with a title defense, and if you cannot contend to defend your title,
Mm-hmm.
you should be stripped of it, and that's end of story. You should be given time limits. You've been holding your title for this many months, and you haven't defended it yet. You don't need it anymore. We'll give it to somebody else.
I'm glad you said that, because that's a lot of argument with Spence and Crawford right now. Even though he just came out of his PBC contract, but still, it's like, dude, if you're gonna fight, like, put your belts on the line. You got Tank Davis fighting Ryan Garcia, who does pay-per-view numbers, and he's got no belts on the line.
It's just not even just arguments to the belt alone. It's just making a mockery. Everything about boxing is corrupt when it comes to the promoters, when it comes to the managers, when it comes to the fighters, when it comes to all their negotiations in general. I love Floyd Mayweather, big fan, but I think there's some pretty controversial wins that he has too when it comes to judges. It's like the Tom Brady of boxing. He wanted to take on Pacquiao when he was 36 years old.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous. I think, and it's sad that Dana White's talking about setting up boxing within the UFC. I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, look at fucking Dana White's got that slap.
Yeah,
That's
stupid.
that to me is ridiculous. Like, I'm not standing there and letting somebody open hand slap me for no reason. You know what I
It's
mean?
not even a combat sport.
No, you get smacked in the right spot, and these people get knocked out and they lose. Like, okay, might as well stand there and let somebody punch you in the face.
Right.
That's just I don't know. I don't see that
Trying to
sport.
make money out of anything you can, though. You know.
No, yeah, right
Yeah,
now it's
and he can't do boxing because he's going to ruin boxing if he takes it, and it's going to boxing's going to gradually increase, you know, and it has been lately, but it's going to be a slow rise for sure.
so like you said with being 30 or 29, almost 30 years old. What do you say to people that believe it's too late to start boxing to let them know that it's never too late?
I got a guy at my gym. He's got to be 50 years old. Boxes. You don't let the age stop you. You know, if the age stops you, just make more limitations. Eventually, you're going to meet new goals.
I did a video and it got removed off of Facebook because I used some content that didn't belong to me, but it was a real snippet, and I don't know the rules. I'm new to this whole thing, but it was about mental health awareness, and it sucks because what the guy was talking about was like his father had killed himself. He had thought about going through it too. I just wanted to use the snippet to put the positivity out there to let people know that they're not alone in this struggle that we have inside our own. You know, the biggest demon that we fight is within ourselves. If you got any words for anybody out there maybe struggling with depression or anxiety, how boxing training can help them improve their mental state?
It's all in the science. Boxing improves your dopamine. They got me with a pretty good mental health diagnosis. I'm supposed to be taking a cocktail of pills. I don't take any of them.
Yeah.
I don't need them anymore. Boxing increases my focus. Boxing increases my response. No matter what you go through, we all go through something, no matter what it is. And I'm not going to sit here and measure up with my struggle and your struggle and whose is worse,
Right.
because we all have our own struggle. And everybody in the gym's got their own struggle too.
Yeah.
You know, it's something, you know, that definitely changes a lot of people's lives. Like I said, it's like my religion. It's just the science behind it. When you feel good and you start to look good, and your attitude becomes more positive, your life just improves.
Yeah.
It improves altogether. You know, and it's great. And I love it.
Thank you.
This has been Boxing Talk, and thank you for watching. Peace.